Miami 10, Texas A&M 3. What a football game, ladies and gentlemen. We kind of got the exact opposite of the Oklahoma Alabama game. Maybe what people thought the Oklahoma Alabama game was ended up being we thought the Texas A&M Miami game was going to be, and then what the Texas A&M Miami game was, we thought the Oklahoma Alabama game was going to be. Maybe I said that verbatim. Maybe somebody like me said that verbatim. Anyways, we got a 10-3 barn burner of a football game. Welcome into the show, everybody. If you are new here, go ahead and subscribe down below, and then follow at Ian Fritts on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram as well. We need more home playoff games, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot tell me that you looked at Kyle Field yesterday morning. Should have been at night, but I'll digress. You cannot tell me you saw that atmosphere and thought, yeah, let's send Miami and Ohio State to the Cotton Bowl. Let's send them to a neutral site. Let's send Alabama and Indiana to the Rose Bowl, which the Rose Bowl should be a part of the postseason, but it should only be the national championship game. But then let's send Georgia and Ole Miss to the Sugar Bowl. What are we doing? Why are we getting away from what makes college football so great? And that is on-campus home football playoff games, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to get off my soapbox and jump into how we got a 10-3 classic of a football game in the first round of the college football playoffs from Miami and Texas A&M. I had some keys for Miami to win this football game. I had some keys for A&M to win this football game. We will jump in with Miami's keys to the football game. The first key was Carson Beck doesn't fold under pressure. He doesn't look like he's never been there before because he's been in atmospheres like this before. He was in the SEC for 2 years. Okay, the guy's been there before. Now, I would give this one a half. I'm going to give it a half a point. Okay, wasn't fully there because you look at the stats, 14 of 20, 103 yards, a touchdown. Not great from Carson Beck, but he didn't fold, didn't put the ball in harm's way, didn't have any turnovers like we'll get into with Marcel Reed there for A&M in a little bit. So he was good enough in this football game, and that's really all you can ask for from Carson Beck right now. He was good enough. So I'm going to give it a half out of 1 there. The second key came true, ladies and gentlemen. Malachi Toney, 10 plus touches. Now you're going to go look at the box score if you fact checked me, but I fact checked myself, ladies and gentlemen. I do not bring you lies on this show. I bring you only the truth. Only the truth. He had 3 carries, 5 catches, 1 pass. Now, you do that math, that adds up to 9 touches. And you're thinking, Ian, how did this one come true if it was only 9 touches? Well, the emphasis was you got to make Malachi Toney the centrality, the central point of your entire offense because he's the key to this football game. You got to get him a ball in a variety of different ways, and they did that. So I'm going to give them the key that came true for Miami there, and he was awesome. He was the best player on the football field. It's evident. It's clear. I believe Greg McElroy and Joe Tess were saying it on the broadcast, or I think it was Sean McDonough, whoever it was. I know it was Greg McElroy. They said in their meetings with both teams prior to the game, each team brought up Malachi Toney before they brought up anything else. Yeah, it's because he's the key to every football game Miami is in because he's the best player on the field. Maybe not against Ohio State, but against 99% of college football. The man is incredible. Okay, good for Malachi Toney, and he had the game-winning touchdown, catch, run, whatever you want to call it, little reverse, just scampering up the sidelines. Awesome stuff from Malachi Toney. Again, true freshman, best player on the field. Third key for Miami in this football game was get pressure on Marcel Reed because when Marcel Reed's under pressure, he has a tendency to put the ball in harm's way. What did Miami do in this football game? Let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen. They had 7 sacks. What? Yes, 7 sacks. Unbelievable number from Miami, from an offensive line from Texas A&M who had the second best pressure rate allowed in all of college football. In the second half, Miami was living in that backfield. They slept back there, folks. They forced 2 interceptions when they got pressure on Marcel Reed and made him make a mistake, especially the game sealer at the end of the game where he wanted the ball. The ball was going to be there. The ball was going to be on time, but he had to dodge. He had to move to the left and up a little bit when he didn't want to. Boom, throws it behind. Fitzgerald gets the game-sealing interception to win the football game 2 times, and then they also forced a fumble early on in the football game. Unbelievable stuff from A&M's from Miami's defense in this football game. So that's Miami. They went, 2.5 out of 3 keys for them to win this football game. And you get a career high rushing yards from Mark Fletcher. So I would say, yeah, successful game from Miami. Good for Miami. Cannot wait for the Cotton Bowl. It should be at the Horseshoe, but it is what it is. Miami, Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, New Year's Eve, ladies and gentlemen. Texas A&M 11-0 to 11-2. Yikes. Probably not what you wanted if you were an Aggie fan. Probably not what you wanted if you were saying gig 'em all year long and you were touting yourself as a top 3 team in the country. Wrong. Schedule merchants. But let's get into the keys for this football game for A&M. What happened? What happened, A&M? Number one, Marcel Reed, no turnovers. Let's look at the box score. He had 2 interceptions, the game sealing interception. He had a fumble early on in the football game because of some pressure. This was always going to happen. He's had a turnover in virtually every single game this season. The guy turns the football over. He puts the ball in harm's way when he's under pressure. However, he is the only reason they were even in this football game because of his legs, because of some of the deep balls he threw. But he's also the reason they lost this football game because of the turnover. So 0 for 1 in the keys for Texas A&M. Number 2, the defense third down percentage needed to be exceptional again. Yeah, it actually was. Miami was 3 of 12 on third down. It showed up again. That is the best third down defense ever, historically, statistically. That is the best third down defense ever, ladies and gentlemen. And it showed up again. So, hey, you're 1 for 2. Maybe if we get this third one to show up, you win the football game. We know it didn't. I said the D-line needs to show up and show up in a big way. They had 2 sacks. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't what Miami did to A&M. It wasn't them living in the backfield. That's what they needed to have happen. It did not happen, okay? Castershall, I believe he had 1 sack, more than what he had against Texas. But again, it wasn't good enough when they ended up going up against a better offensive line than they had seen all year long. They got pushed around a little bit, especially in the run game. They've been bad on the run game all year long. It showed up again. So 1.5 out of the 3 keys for Texas A&M. Sure, in a non-playoff game, that might be good enough to get you a win. In a playoff game, not going to get it done, and you end up with 3 points. 3 points. And now Texas is saying, hey, man, we almost scored as many points as A&M in the college football playoff this year. Not a great showing from A&M. Still like what they got. Still believe they can be a really good football team next year. But for now, we get Miami, Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Yes, sir. Sign me up 10 out of 10 times. New Year's Eve, 7 p.m. Let's go, baby. If you are new, go ahead and subscribe down below and follow at Ian Fritts Show on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram as well. I love you guys. Bye.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game.
25, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes